Thank you all for having me. Well, I feel like I'm back at school, like in a formalized classroom. It's nice to be in a classroom and see everyone's dressed all nice, looking good. So how's everything going? Enjoying the weekend? Sorry I missed you all last night. I had to take a final for my psychiatry rotation, so they wouldn't let me miss. So sorry I couldn't make it. So it's a true honor to be here. Bill Campbell is an incredible person. His spirit lives on for sure. I wouldn't be where I am without him. And I wish you all had the chance to meet him. He's inspired me more than he'll ever know. And I try to uh, take on the values and disseminate his knowledge and all his wonderful things to as many people as I can. So it's an honor to be here and talk because it's a nice time to really remember him for who he was, for sure. And the main purpose of my talk is just to encourage you all to really pursue your dreams. I think after I was done playing, you kind of think that everything stops in a way, and you think that your skills don't transfer over. You're like, man, I could run a really good 40 time, but what can I do in the office? And I'm here to encourage you and tell you that your skills are absolutely transferable. Bill Campbell's a wonderful example of that. You don't have to reinvent yourself. You don't have to change who you are. You don't have to change how you think. What you are doing on the football field will really serve you well in the real world, no matter what you choose. So I wanted to really re-emphasize that to you today, because sometimes it feels like you have to do all these things. You have to do all these internships and cross all your T's and dot your I's. But working really hard as a student athlete, you've done enough. And I think more people out there are seeing that. And it's my job as a former student athlete to encourage you and to mentor you and help you in any way that I can, because I really see the promise in all of you. What you all go through, grinding it out every day is not easy, and you can do anything. I call football, especially football athletes, y'all are bulletproof. I watch Last Chance U. Y'all watch that show? I laugh because I'm not getting yelled at now, but uh, it's tough what you all go through, like how people are really grilling into you and yelling at you day in and day out, really pushing you to the limit. You're out there on the field, it's hot. At least for volleyball, I can play in the air conditioning, so I can kind of hide, but you all can't hide out there doing bear crawls for punishment, up downs, like I don't sounds it was really scary from the stories my husband told me. But you all can do anything. And the things that people tell you in life that are really scary and really challenging, that might be true. But I feel like the lessons that you've learned on the field, um, you can do anything. So I really hope you believe that. And anytime you don't believe that, please write me. And then the other things that I wanted to talk about is finding a network, finding the community. A lot of people out there, because they don't really know a lot about student athletes, sometimes they'll just tell you that you can't, or they'll try and put you in a box or a category. And I just, again, want to encourage you to think really broadly and don't limit yourself to what you didn't do or what you can't do. So I'm in medical school at 35 years old, and believe it or not, I'm not the oldest person in my class. And I wouldn't have it any other way, because I feel like being in medical school now and grinding it out now, like I'm able to really use the things I learned as a volleyball athlete to really get through really difficult times. And I have a daughter. She's actually really quiet right now. She's in the back. I haven't heard her cry or scream. She's a 3-year-old daughter, my daughter, and she's amazing, and she's inspired me more than she'll ever know. And the reason why I'm able to do all of these things is because of my husband. And big disclaimer, I hated on football players at the beginning. I was like, I'm going to stay away from y'all. I heard y'all are shady. I heard you're sketchy. Like at training table, I eat my food and run. I'm like, don't get involved. And that was not true. You all are phenomenal people, very intelligent. The playbook that you have to know, that enough. Like, That's like incredible to me. So I had it all wrong, and I stayed back one day at training table, and I was fortunate to get to talk to my future husband, and I was like, wow, yeah, I was really impressed. So I had it all wrong. So apologies. I'm not going to act like I was a groupie at the beginning. I was very hesitant, and so you never know. You just don't know. So I'm just very thankful for training table, because without training table I wouldn't be here talking to you all for sure. And again, with my husband, football, because you have to be tough to play. You have to have that really like tough mentality. I think it's so mental to get through what you all get through. And he has a lot at work, and I'm gonna brag about him. He went to school here, and he did awesome on the football field. But I was really impressed with him because he was so driven academically. He did an outstanding job here. He got his master's during his time while on the team, and then he was greedy for more, and he got his MBA here, and he does finance in Palo Alto. So he really used his football opportunities here to really push himself to the limit, and he's a true inspiration for me. So being with him and learning from him, I just try to kind of live up to his promise and try and do the best that I can. And I think what he learned is not only driving his career and his academic success, but he's learned how to really support a family. Like, he has supported me more ways than I would have ever imagined. He takes my daughter every day to school, because I have to be at the operating room sometimes for my rotations at like 5 a.m., 4:45, just like those morning workout days. And he's there to take her to school. He's there to, I don't make it sometimes, to say goodnight to her, and he's there to read her the bedtime story, and he's there to really support our family. And he does it with pride, and he does it with so much grace, and he still has the time to support me, even quiz me on some flashcards late at night. So you all have the capacity to really lead, not only in the workplace, but also at home. And don't underestimate your strengths for that. So me, I'm a big football fan. I've converted over, and I'm glad that I didn't stick to my ways. But I'm just a product of wonderful people in my life that have supported me. I've just been really lucky. Like, growing up in Normal, Illinois. Does anybody know where that is? Oh, really? Cool, nice. Represent. 2 hours south of Chicago. Um, my family came to the U.S. From Nigeria. There was a bad civil war in Nigeria, so there was no university school systems available. So they came to the U.S. to pursue an education, and there was a bad coup. A lot of the government in Nigeria was very unstable at the time, and they had me. They really wanted to go back, but they said they'll stay because the opportunities here, you can't find them anywhere else. So I was fortunate to stay in the U.S. and learn and develop. And my life, my childhood was I was always had asthma. So I was diagnosed with asthma when I was 2, and so all I knew was living in the hospital. That was my second home. It's kind of bad when you go to the ER or the hospital and they know your name and they know your parents' names. They're like, "Oh, you want your favorite drink today?" That's a bad sign. So I never dreamed of even being an athlete, because I was in the ICU. There was one time had to get helicoptered over to a regional hospital, and I was in the ICU for almost 5 weeks, and I never thought I would be an athlete. But I will never forget the doctors in my life that really encouraged me, and they didn't give up on me. And again, they didn't put me in a box and say, "Yeah, you have asthma, you can't participate." They found ways to kind of get me active and get me involved, even in recess. I was banned from recess. That's a cold game to watch. To watch recess from the window when you're 7, that's prison. That's jail. But I was happy the first day I got released from that. I was so happy, uh, and and I enjoyed it so much. And then just hanging out on the playground, started doing kickballs really bad, but started to learn more about sports and started to get into it. It had a lot of setbacks with my asthma, but my parents and my family they're always there to encourage me, and the doctors like never gave up on me, and they were willing to change the management plans to kind of enable me to get a little bit better each time, and the medications got a lot better too. And but I still never saw myself as an athlete. I was just trying to like hang out on the playground. That was my main goal. And I'll never forget, I think in life, a lot of the limitations we set on ourselves there are a lot of mental barriers. So there was a big mental component to that, believing that I couldn't be an athlete. And having the chance to watch Jackie Joyner Kersee, I don't know if you all are familiar with her. She's one of the best athletes of all time. She was competing in the Olympic Games as a heptathlete. And I knew about her because she's from Illinois and she played basketball and volleyball and track. And I played all those sports down the road, but watching her on TV, I was just mesmerized. But part of me was like, oh, I don't think I could ever do that. But then I kind of sat around the couch because that's what I always do. And there was a commercial that came on, and it was a commercial with Jackie Joyner Kersee talking about her asthma. And I was shocked. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So that kind of lifted up off my mental barriers. So I kind of share that story to kind of talk about how powerful mind blocks can be. I never saw myself as an athlete, but just seeing that person on TV kind of changed my whole mindset. And from then on, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be an athlete. I'm going to try my best. And I was lucky to have really good coaches that really pushed me. Again, sometimes I push myself a little bit too much and end up in the emergency room or end up in the hospital, but I didn't give up because that mental barrier was gone. And I think we all have different mental roadblocks in our minds when we play or no matter where we go in life, sometimes there are things that you just feel like you can't do, you're not able to do. And I just wanted to, share that story to encourage you to kind of reinvent the wheel by, changing your mindset. And I think um, being able to talk with people, being open to new ideas, reaching out to people, you'll remove those roadblocks time and time again. And it takes a community, it takes a village to kind of get through life. I remember trying to go to medical school, and I thought I had to be like a new person, but you don't. You can be yourself. And Bill taught me that he was the best version of himself every day. He didn't change who he was. If you talk to his friends back in the day at Columbia, his teammates, he's the same person he was when he was CEO of Intuit and head like a big leader in Silicon Valley. He never changed who he was. And I encourage you all to do the same. Be the best version of yourself. Don't try and be anyone else. And if you be the best version of yourself, you will lead in the best possible way because we need you. The world needs people like you. You all are very well trained, and you all can lead and do whatever you want. And I'm not just telling you that; I really believe that. So that's why it's an honor to always come here and speak and talk about my life story and how I got to where I got to. But I wanted to share a little bit about myself to kind of inspire you and let you know that you can do whatever you want. And I think the most important thing in my life is not the successes that I've had, but it's I'm a product of my environment. So don't forget, don't forget where you come from. Never forget that. Never forget that because you are a product of your environment. So always remember that. And always remember the most important thing is not about what you do, but how you can help others reach their goals. And I think Bill was so wonderful at that, and I hope that you all will do the same thing because you all are leaders with incredible talents. And I think talent is worthless if you're not able to share it with others and create your own mentorship tree. If you look at Bill Campbell's mentorship tree and you draw it all out, it's fantastic. It's phenomenal. Like, wow, the tree just extends. Everybody's like, wow, you know him? Wow, you do. It's quite fascinating. And it's never, never too early to start your own mentorship tree. There are people that hung out, watched you all play in college and high school that are younger than you that really looked up to you, don't ever pass up the opportunity to say hi or to reach out and talk to them because you just don't know. You could have that, I call it that Jackie Joyner Kersey moment um, for someone else. And I think don't forget that the importance of mentorship, it goes both ways, and it's quite remarkable to see. You're never too unprepared, or you never have to be a certain way before you start to mentor others. You all are ready to go now. And I guess that's all I have to say for now. Hey, please, please ask me. I wanted to leave time for a lot of questions. I hate talking at people because I get like PTSD from lectures, like with teachers just talking and talking and talking at you. So I wanted to leave some time for questions too, if you had any. I think the challenge is I can't pull those all-nighters. I just don't have it in me. I remember back in the day, I could stay up and write a 15-page paper in like 5 hours. I just don't have it anymore. But the good news is I feel more mature. So things that used to freak me out, I just don't panic, because I've kind of had a lot of life experiences. So things that are really terrifying for others are not so terrifying for me. I think that's the thing that's really helped me a lot. And as an athlete, I think we have way more failures than successes because that's how we learn. Like when the coach is with that whistle, ugh, just yelling at you all day. You only get to play like once a week, but the other days are a grind, like you're grinding it out. And I think a lot of people in my class, they're not used to those kind of experiences. So definitely take advantage of your past experience as an athlete. And I think that's helped me a lot. I think learning how to work with other people, different personalities, learning how to engage different people, and not really being so phased by setbacks um, have become strengths of mine, and they've overshadowed, me starting a little bit later in school. Oh no, I haven't done boards yet. So with our new curriculum, they have us do all our clinical rotations first, and we do our shelf exams at the end, and then we take our boards after. Yeah. Yeah, so like I just have to act like I have a mic on me all the time, like the locker room talk. Can't do that anymore. Uh, uh, like you just have to. It doesn't really change though, believe it or not. Like the way I interact with my classmates, I feel like I interacted the same way with my teammates. I'm genuine. Like you try and look out for them. You try and create a community, create like a small family, and I think that's really valuable. But sometimes some people like they haven't had that experience, so it can be kind of hard to connect at first. But at the end of the day, we have the same goals, and it's quite fascinating to see that we're very similar. I think I'm kind of different because I bring a lot of humor all the time. I think people are very serious and straightforward, and I'm just not afraid to crack a joke in like a very serious situation. And I think that comes from my playing days. Like it's a way to kind of process the stress that I think other people in my class are starting to pick up on and starting to use too. We used to joke here at school like we'd have we call them civilians who were the people that weren't athletes, and then athletes. So the civilians, like they're more like serious, more straight laced. So you can't really like joke around with them as much. But the funny thing is, if you talk to a lot of the football players, a lot of their best friends became civilians. Like you just, have an open mind, and you'll find out that the differences between you and the other people are very there are not a lot of differences. There are way more similarities, and that's what I've learned about medical school. Again, it was like getting to know my classmates. We come from very different backgrounds, but uh, we're very similar at the end of the day. It's quite fascinating to see. Oh, sure, yeah, we can all hang out. Yeah, am I between you and food? Ooh, that's dangerous. A sea of football athletes. Yeah. No, no, thank you. It's been great. At any time, I know I'm really on the medicine track, but however I can help you, I really want to. So don't give up on your dreams. You guys can do it for sure. You got this.